Here goes the record. And there goes the encoder. You are good to go.
Okay. Welcome back to another Page Turner with Big Dog and Little Stuff. I'm Stephanie Menard.
I am Tom Hutchison.
And, we're back again. We've had a lot going on, so we haven't been able to make our normal Tuesday shows, but that's every other Tuesday. Sorry, but We're here on a Friday.
Glitch in the matrix, but we reset and come on back.
It is what it is. Well,
we weeble and we wobble, but we don't fall down.
Exactly. And, we've been busy. I just fulfilled my Kickstarter, and you just bought a zillion boxes of comics. This week has been particularly hectic for the two of us.
Yep.
I definitely could use 85 naps at this point. Not gonna lie.
Well, that's like your Facebook update every day is it's nap time.
Well, see, I intend to take a nap every day, but I don't always do it. I lay down to do it, and then it doesn't work usually. Sometimes it does though, and when it does, I'm like, sweet. Life is good. I need a lot of sleep. What can I say? Also, there's not a whole lot else to do most days, so why not nap and wake up feeling refreshed or confused, because that happens sometimes too.
Well, but then you wake up and there's still nothing to do. So,
Well, sometimes you wake up and you're confused. You napped so hard, you don't even know if you're still on the planet Earth. And that actually makes life kind of fun.
Okay.
So there you go. You have to take one of those kind of naps if you can handle it. But
those, I know the I'm just passing out now nap. It's over. There's nothing I can do about it. I'll see you in an hour. I know those really well.
Yeah. Sometimes even I'm like an old person. I'll sit down and I'll be fine. I'm a little tired, whatever. I'll put on a movie and I'm I fall asleep sitting up or whatever. I do it at the movie theater too. I'm so lame. I get comfortable and it's all dark and I'm like, ooh, nap time. So anyway, other than naps, so this week you bought how many long boxes was it?
40 long boxes.
40. Okay. And so for people like me, I know people that do this, but I guess my question is it normal to just buy a bunch of boxes without looking at them?
Well, you never,
just hoping that something good's in there.
You never look at it. I mean, you've got to, number one, whoever's selling it has to kind of give you a description of something. It's mostly Marvel, it's mostly DC, it's mostly indies, whatever. So that you at least have some concept of okay, that's my bag.
Okay.
But then it's a matter of, is this guy just pulling my leg? What is it? And so you got to go and you got to just poke around in it. And
okay.
It's not something that I would recommend for the rookie collector, because you can't deep dive 40 boxes while you're there. You can't just be 1, 2, 3. You can't do that.
Right.
The dude's just going to kick you out of his house. So you've got to be able to kind of quickly, okay, I get the idea of what's here. Another box. Mm-hmm. Okay, I kind of get the idea of what's here. But for me, with these 40 boxes, I didn't even see half of it, because it's all it's just stacked. So it's not, you'd be pulling and moving and, to get to every box. So I went through about 10 boxes, and I was like, okay, if the rest of this stuff is at minimum what this is, what I've seen, then it's fine. And if it's better, then it's better. So, I kind of wiggled the price a little. I was like, well, there's this one box here that's just going to go in the fireplace. So,
it's kindling.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute. But so he was very understanding, and so he dropped the price a little bit for me, which was good. At minimum, it helped pay for the van that I had to rent to, go get this stuff and bring it back.
Right.
And from there, you just kind of start digging. And this was a completely clusterfucked collection. It was like there was no rhyme or reason. There was no order to anything. It's A, F, Q, Z, B, A, Z. It's just like, I don't know what this is. So you just have to start pulling chunks out and just be like, okay, well, there's an X-Men pile, I guess. I'll just start that over there. And here's a weird image pile, start over here. And then you just kind of got to start sort of Tetrising it all together to see if you have like, 1 through 20 of something, or if you have, just pieces and whatever. Because when you're flipping comics, you can flip them singly, like, hey, I have this one book and it's $5 and here it is. But if you have complete runs, if you have whatever the book is 1 through 25, then that's like, hey, I've got the whole thing here, guys. And you can just take the whole thing in one fell swoop. So you got to kind of do you got to do your homework. You got to know what you're looking at. That's hard for people that are new to this. I mean, I've been doing this basically my whole life. When I brought this stuff home, it was like, my mom saw it and she was like, how did you do that so fast? I was like, because I'm 49 and I've been doing this for 47 years of my life. Basically, I know what I'm looking at. I know what I'm doing. So we broke it down. I took about 9 boxes home from the storage unit that I knew were kind of had a lot of key stuff in it that I wanted to monkey around with. But even in my quick browsing, like, okay, this is a good box. When I got it home and I'm pulling stuff out, I know my mom thinks I'm crazy because I'm just sitting here laughing. It's like, where did this come from? What the hell? So it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And particularly if you're like my age, where you grew up with comics and in the comics time, which is basically like the 80s and the 90s, where things just kind of exploded. It's like a time capsule in some cases, where even if you're not collecting the stuff, it's just it's going back through that memory lane. Like, oh my God, I remember when this came out. I was working in a shop, this, the beginnings of Image and so on. And it's just fun. It's great fun. So out of all of it, though, out of the 9 boxes so far that I've really, really dove into, I have kept a total of about 15 books for my personal collection. So the rest of it's all going up for sale.
Awesome. And so this is some of the stuff that you like when you do on your network on Facebook, like that's some of the stuff that you like sell out. And
usually the Doghouse on the Comic Book Shopping Network, my live selling show, usually we just sell my stuff, Big Dog Ink stuff.
Right.
This stuff back here. But because I had such a big collection anyway, and I needed to thin it out, I started doing these shows that we called chaos shows, which were just whatever the hell's in this box. We're going to put a price on it and you guys can get it. And it's Marvel and it's DC and it's Image and it's Dark Horse. And it's just things that I had bought over the years, either in collections or just for myself. But because I'm trying to get myself to a situation where I want to move towards the end of the year, I needed to just start thinning out whatever it is, the 50 boxes of stuff that's in my collection. And so we just started doing chaos nights and they were really popular. And in doing the chaos nights, it got a lot of people onto my show that wouldn't necessarily have been there. And so while we're selling Marvel and DC and whatever to these guys who are looking for that, we also sprinkle in the big dog stuff. We do, okay, we're going to do like 30 minutes of like weird stuff. And then we're going to do like 30 minutes of big dog stuff so that they get exposed to what I'm doing.
Which is still weird stuff, but it's specific.
It's the good weird stuff. Yeah. It's the good weird stuff. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So it's like it's a way to bring people into that might not know, what you're all about, but are interested in all these other things, and maybe open it up to a new audience, which is
right. Because
cool.
if I'm showing pictures, like here, we're going to have Fantastic Four on tonight. There could be people that are looking for Fantastic Four that would never have come to my show because they don't collect big dog stuff. Mm-hmm. So they'll come to my show, the Chaos Show, and see all the stuff that they understand. But then at the same time, they're going to watch other people buy big dog stuff. And then the theory is that these guys will be like, well, why are these guys buying big dog stuff? I don't get it. And then hopefully they'll try it out and get them hooked in.
I was going to say, you're trying to get them hooked.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. The Fantastic Four is free, man. But
you're their pusher. Look at you. I mean, whatever you got to do. Yeah, I'm not judging.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
You do what you got to do.
And I this was never a plan for me. Like, hey, I want to become like a comic book sales guy. I mean, I owned a shop. Well, I ran a shop for 5 years in the early 90s when everything went skyrocketing through the roof. And then I owned my own shop right up until September 11th when I had to end up closing it. So I had like 10 years of heavy duty retail experience. So I know what I'm doing. I mean, I know what's going on. I've worked with Jesse James Comics for the past like 6 years in his shop, retail stuff. So, I mean, I know what's going on. I can flip this switch and make it happen. But it was never really a plan of mine to be like, hey, I'm going to buy collections and like turn them. But the more I did that with Jesse, helping him buy collections and flipping them around, the more fun I had doing it. And I was like, I can do this. I can have a good time with this and make a little money at it and so on. So this was my first foray into a big collection. And like I said, I've really only skimmed the surface, but we sold almost almost a whole long box on Wednesday, because we did our first run through on this. So Wednesday we went through almost an entire long box, which is like 200 plus comics.
Wow.
Just in that couple, hour and a half of time. So, we did well. And like I said, we're only just scratching the surface. So now I actually got a call today that my storage unit guys, they were like, hey, we've got the inside, climate controlled unit for you now. I'm like, oh, you couldn't have told me that like 2 days ago. So I didn't have to like move it all again. But, so when I'm done with this, I'm going back in town. We're going to move it all.
Go use your muscles, man.
Yeah. Moving it all into the inside, and then then I'll monkey around with some more boxes and see what we got. But yeah, it's fun, and that's what comics are supposed to be. Even if you're talking about new books are going to be looked at differently than old books, but in 10 years that stuff better be looked at as fun, or nobody's going to give two craps about it as far as the back issue market goes. And in some cases we're already seeing some of that with like DC's what the hell was it, the New 52, or I don't know, they did like 3 reboots in a row, and one of them just was like, people were just like, this is some garbage, man, and nobody cares about these books. Nobody cares, because they rebooted, and then like 5 years later they rebooted again. So it was like this segment of time that is just like washed away. It just doesn't mean anything. And so now, at the time, it was what DC was, so people were buying it. But then when you do this big reboot again, you kind of make collectors go like, well, why did I buy that stuff if it's all just gone now again? So the back issue market is a weird, tricky thing, and that's why for me, I pretty much want to focus on 2000 backwards than worry about coming too far forward.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't really get all that reboot BS. And well, I mean, I collect indie stuff. I mean, I do have a few things that aren't indie. Obviously there is other good stuff out there that isn't indie, but that's mostly what I read. And, when I was hearing about, DC rebooting all this stuff and, like all these, and how like you have to read things in a specific, like there's so many different, what was it? Wasn't Spider-Man, was it? I don't know. It was, I can't remember. I'm really tired. So my brain is super fried right now. But it was like, in order to get into some of these series, you have to like jump around in like timelines, and like then there's things that have been erased by like reboots, and it's just, to me, really confusing, and I don't want to put the time and effort into it. It just seems like a lot of work when I can go and like get a graphic novel from like an indie artist, and it's all one story, and it's always going to be that one story, or it's an arc of a longer story, whatever. It's not going to change.
Marvel figured out a long time ago, well, DC too, and so on. They figured out a long time ago that if you can make a Spider-Man book and you can write a story that makes that Spider-Man buyer go buy X-Force, that 9 times out of 10, that buyer will go buy that X-Force book, even though they wouldn't have normally bought it.
Right.
And so that was a large segment of the 90s, was them figuring out all of these little marketing crossover things. It used to be that like the Punisher just like appeared in Spider-Man and you were like, woo, we got the Punisher in Spider-Man. That's cool. But now it's, hey, you read this Spider-Man book with the Punisher, but if you want to finish it, you have to go buy this Punisher book with Spider-Man. And you know, and so it's a marketing trick to sell more books.
You know, I do understand that, and you know, that's all well and good. I just think when it gets too involved, when it's too much going back and forth, and you know, like I said, you know, having to like figure out which Spider-Man series to read first, or you know, how to make sure that you get the story in order, it just gets really confusing to me. I just want to like read something, enjoy it, and then not be confused.
Well, and that's one of the things that these publishers have to figure out is it's you're trying to, in their words, not verbatim, but in their words, they're trying to find new readers. Fantastic. Everything you're doing is wrong to find new readers. Everything, because like you just said, you're talking about bringing brand new people in who don't know what comics are and saying, yeah, hey, you like Ms. Marvel, but if you want to see the second part of Ms. Marvel, you got to go buy Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, which crosses over with, and people are just like, what are you doing? I just want my Ms. Marvel. I just want my Moon Girl, Devil Dinosaur.
Right.
I don't want to go. You can cross over and have them appear in the books, but I don't want to have to go buy X-Men and Spider-Man in order to get my Ms. Marvel story. And that's part of what they're doing wrong. And that's why the stuff that you're talking about, even beyond indies, the book market of comic books is growing quite a bit, because people will go in and they'll just get that big book that's, you know, 1 through 6 of, you know, Ms. Marvel, and they'll take it home and they got their 1 through 6 and they're done. And they don't have to worry about where it goes. So the book market is actually seeing growth, whereas the floppy market is still kind of stuck in the, is it a first appearance of somebody? Is it going to be valuable next week? As opposed to, hey, what did Spider-Man do this week? Oh, no. It's Red Goblin's in this thing, and you got to get the Red Goblin issue, and you got to buy 10 copies, and you got to put them away because it's the investment. It's like, it's fine. If you want to invest in it, that's fine. But that can't be the focus on monthly comics, because that's why people struggle to get involved with them.
Right.
So if you want new people, you have to do it a certain way, and neither Marvel or DC really do it that way.
Yeah, well,
but the indies do. The indies get it. The indies just tell their story. Blip, 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 blip,
yeah,
blip,
and
blip.
then that's what I like. And I mean, it's cool, like if a character makes an appearance in some other thing, like that's fine. I just don't want to have to read that in order to like understand the entire story. Like just give me what I'm looking for. And again, don't make it confusing.
Right.
Life is good.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, so I got a question for you, because I was just doing, I was just putting together my packaging today. What is your process when you go to do your fulfillment for a Kickstarter? Like, I have a certain order of like how I get everything done, and I'm curious to see like what yours is, just to see if, you know, maybe there's a better way. I don't think so. I think I have it down to like a science for myself, like the way that it works best for me. But I know that's going
to be for everybody. But I mean, basically, we just kind of build our stretch goal packs, you know, ahead of time, because here's your 2 trading cards and your sticker and your bookmark and your whatever, and you know, those all go into like just a bag, like a, you know, comic book bag, whatever. And so we can just build those even before the books are here, you know. So once we have all those things, we can just start building hundreds of these things and have them ready to go. And then once the books are in, it's just a matter of sorting them out and making sure we know this is what goes in each, you know, reward package. So, and then you just start putting it together.
Like, cause what I do, like, I just go through like my backer surveys, and I go through like each tier level, and I do it like 1 tier at a time, because it's easier for me to go.
That's one way to do it.
That's
fair,
how I do it.
But we do We use BackerKit, and BackerKit will let you download like a Excel spreadsheet of stuff
Oh.
that'll be like, and you can break it down. So it'll be like, okay, all of Joe Blow's stuff is like right here. And it's Joe Blow gets this. And then we just like, okay, bloop, 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 bloop. There's Joe Blow, give him his pack, pack it up and send it out the door.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious because,
but that's with using BackerKit versus, using just, standard surveys from Kickstarter.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to a point where I don't really need to use BackerKit. There's no point for me because anything that I'm offering it's all on the Kickstarter. So I don't need to really, because I know a lot of people use it so people can do add-ons.
Sure.
And for me, I don't need to do that. And I mean, I've been able to handle, the amount that I've through Kickstarter. And it's been fine. Like,
Sure.
Like I said, I print out all my shipping labels for a tier, package each, box, make sure everything's all good. And then for that, I like just do one tier at a time until it's all done. Mm-hmm. And it's been pretty simple and pretty efficient, but I'm I'm always looking for like a better way, like anything that'll cut time off. Cause seriously, 2 days of this shit and I'm exhausted. I'm
it's all the same. I mean, it doesn't matter how you do it. It's all the same. It's looking at the dude's name. It's pulling the books. It's packing them. It's making a label. I mean, there's really no way to skirt the details other than just being prepared ahead of time, like with the stretch goals. So you're not like, stretch goal book, like at one at a time, like just get yourself ahead if possible. And then you're just grabbing packs. Okay. I need a pack, throw it in with the book. We're done. But it's all just manual labor and there's really no way to get around it outside of other people doing it.
Oh, right. I was going to say, unless you know people who are willing to help you out, which is always cool.
Yes.
I don't ever get that lucky, but
No, I don't either. Well, I have plenty of people that offer, but they're usually like 5 states away.
Yeah, that's not helpful. They have to actually be in the room with you. That's helpful.
Yeah.
What was I just going to say? God, see, we're talking about
Kickstarter and back
fulfillments. Oh yeah. So what I did this time that was different was because I got my comics in before I got the other stuff, and I just bagged and boarded like every tier together, and then I just like organized it and set it up so that as soon as I got in the last of my stretch goal stuff, I was able to just drop it in, and everything was like labeled and stacked with its group, so it kind of actually made it go a little faster. So that's something you can do too, is I try to keep it as organized as possible, but this is the first time I've done that, where I got the books in before the other stuff. So but it helped. It made things a little bit easier.
Just
you're
space,
right.
Give yourself space, give yourself the ability to spread out. I mean, everybody's different because, I mean, for me, we had like 600 backers on this last one that we did. So it's going to be a lot of freaking packages. And there's a dozen books and on and on and on and on. So, and for us, they they add on stuff in the backer kit. So it's not even a matter of looking at Kickstarter because that doesn't matter anymore. It's what did they do on backer kit? Because they could have added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books or whatever. So everything we do just comes through that spreadsheet, and so far so good.
Well, and I think that's something, because a lot of people have asked about backer kit, and when I went to look into it, like for myself personally, because I mean, most of my Kickstarters have been between 100 and like 200 backers, which I feel like is super manageable for me. Sure. And again, because I'm not adding anything else on, or like everything's included that they could get. It's all there in the Kickstarter. So I don't feel like I need backer kit. For people that are looking into maybe stepping into that as like a next step for their Kickstarter, when would you recommend somebody actually investing in that? Because it's not cheap to use.
It's not cheap, but it's not expensive either. But you have to treat it like kind of, well, there's a couple reasons. One is, and this is actually something that didn't occur to me until somebody brought it up to me. One is people are buying books on Kickstarter and they're spending X amount of money, and they're going to get charged at the end of the campaign.
Right.
So let's just say they get charged at the end of this month, so July. So they're getting charged now. They may not have had the budget to buy all the books they wanted on that charge for Kickstarter. But once they're charged, and now they're into a new credit cycle with the backer kit, they can say, okay, well, now I'm in a new credit cycle. I can pick up 3 or 4 more books because this is going to go on to the next bill down the road. And so it really, even in that case, it's really only going to matter if you have a significant amount of different books, you know, different variant covers, or if you're selling merch or whatever. So that people can be like, okay, well, now I want that shirt. Now I want that, whatever. For us, you know, we usually have like 10 covers. So if people couldn't get them all during the Kickstarter campaign, this gives them an opportunity to grab a couple more before, you know, things are finalized. Basically, they get an extra month of time essentially to kind of buy a little bit more. And in our case, we will tend to do something specific for backer kit. So we open up the Kickstarter to the public. Anybody can come in and do that. But once the campaign is shut down, we don't do pre-orders anymore. The pre-order store, we don't do. So anything that is made available in backer kit at that point is exclusive to the backers. So nobody can just come in and be like, well, I didn't pledge to the campaign, but I want that backer kit exclusive. It doesn't work that way. If you want to get in on that stuff, we need you to start with the campaign, and then we invite you into the exclusive club.
Oh, you're so cool. I tease. You're all right. You're all right.
Sometimes.
You have your moments. So, I guess so. If somebody is looking at it from like the perspective of, is the investment worth, you know, what you get back from it? When, like, is there a certain criteria that you think somebody should hit? Like maybe whether it's like numbers wise, like a certain number of backers or a certain amount per Kickstarter that makes it worth it?
No, you'll never know. You'll never know until you do it.
Okay.
Even when we did Kickstarter, or when we did backer kit for Lights Camera Jungle, when we first did it, our very first ever Kickstarter, I want to say we did an extra like $1,500 or something. And there was, in that situation, there was nothing. I mean, there was nothing new. It was just a matter of, if you want books, you can add them on now.
Right.
And that grew into, you know, sort of our methodology, which is, okay, now you can add on these books, but there's also going to be an extra thing, so on and so on. But we were starting to see this theory of, hey, you know, I can afford $200 now, and I can afford another $200 next month, but they will break it because just, you know, their credit card situation or whatever. And it's like, oh, okay, well, this makes sense. And it didn't even occur to me until somebody actually told me, yeah, I have to wait until backer kit to get a few more things because of the payment situation. I was like, oh, I get it.
And that never occurred to me either. Like, that's something that I didn't take into account.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Like, again, it's still, I don't personally need it for myself, but I was just asking, I guess, for people that were curious.
In your situation and in other people's, you don't have enough product necessarily to warrant it, because you're only doing a couple of covers, you know, a pin, whatever. So for the most part, your backers aren't spending too much money to begin with. I mean, it's not like they're spending $500 to get all of the stuff on your campaign. So
right.
If they come in and they spend $100, they've probably got everything there is anyway. So unless you're adding something to Kickstarter or to backer kit that wasn't on the campaign, then there's really not a reason to do it. But if you're coming in and you're like, hey, you know, we've got 10 covers and, you know, they're limited to 200 a piece or whatever, then you can give people the extra chance to get them through backer kit. But it really depends more on your product line than anything else.
That makes a lot of sense. See, that cleared up something that I didn't even know. I mean, I knew, again, that it wasn't necessary for myself, but now I have some other reasons why it isn't necessary for me.
Yeah, and it's something to know. Yeah, and it's something to look forward into. Like, you know, hopefully you're going to grow, you know, 200 to 300 to 400, whatever. as you do more books, maybe you
Mhm.
get more into the variants, maybe you get more into the swag, the merch, whatever. And that's where Backer Kit will come in handy, because then people can
Right.
say, hey, I got the books already, but let me go ahead and get that shirt or whatever it is. And then you know, kind of move up from there.
Makes sense. See?
Plus, the other thing
Answering
with
questions.
the other thing with Backer Kit is the more that you do it, you get discounts, because if you're a regular returning customer,
Mm-hmm.
the cost goes down.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
See, that's good to know. This show is full of such good information.
I'm telling you. P.S. Critter's on Kickstarter right now.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I forgot about that. How many more days do you have left on that?
We end on Wednesday night at about 11:45. So it's like,
So-
I don't know, 5-ish days, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're already funded, so no worries about that. If you are interested in, you know, fun old school style superhero books, this is Critter's 10-year anniversary. So we are doing a hardcover edition to commemorate the anniversary. But you don't have to buy the hardcover. We have a regular trade paperback paper version as well, with a brand new cover on it. We have some special add-ons from Ni Rufino, who's done some special reprintings of issue number 1 with new covers on them. So there's all kinds of stuff. You can get all the entire run. There's 4 books. You can get all 4 books together. You can get the hardcover. You can get the dust jacket version. You can get them digitally if you just want them digitally. If you're out of country and the shipping is crazy, we know it's crazy, and you just want to get the digitals, we can just send you the digitals. We have we've opened up the vault, the archives of BDI. You can get some old Critter variant covers, just a mix of 10 random 10 from her last 10 years. We have that kind of stuff available. So it's all kinds of things available. All you got to do is go to kickstarter.com, search for Critter, Critter, and she'll pop up, and we've got about 5 days left.
Yeah. I'm so glad to be done with this Kickstarter stuff for the next few months. I am like just thinking about all the crap that you have to go through for yours. And I say crap. I mean, obviously it's not crap. It's awesome because you have like some really cool stuff. But you know what I mean? Because you do offer so many different things. That's a lot of work. It's really,
Sure.
You know, I think some people don't realize how much time people invest in their Kickstarters.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not just like, oh, okay, it's the 30 days that it's up or whatever. You know, you work on it for months beforehand. And then the 30 days you're actively every single day selling it, you know, and getting it in front of people's faces. And then after that, you're doing all the work to, you know, order product and, you know, get everything ready for delivery and packaging. And I mean, it's really a several month long process for every Kickstarter.
For
so
sure.
it's
100%.
definitely, you know, and because I've heard people say like, oh, I don't kickstart my stuff. And it just seems like, and I'm like, why? Like, because they seem to think it's like just something that people do so they don't have to like pay for stuff out of their own pocket. And it's like, there's a reason why people use Kickstarter. It's a great pre-sale tool. And it's a great marketing tool to get your book in front of a lot of people that might never see it.
Yeah,
we've talked about that before.
Yeah, Kickstarter has moved from being, hey, I need $500 because I have a vanity project I want to get done, to being a legitimate, essentially distribution channel, because people are coming in and basically pre-ordering their books just like they would at the comic book store and getting them a couple of months later, just like they would at the comic book store. So, you know, it is a completely new audience for you, for whoever's putting your stuff up there. I can't tell you how many new people have found me through Kickstarter. They don't do anything else with me. They don't bother with me anywhere else, but they're like, dude, when's the next Kickstarter? I'm like, well, not for a while, but you know, we've got this web store, and I'm like, yeah, just tell me when the Kickstarter's coming and I'll be there. And then there's dudes who will not do Kickstarter. And they're like, nope, just tell me when it's on your store. I don't want to hear about Kickstarter. I'm like, well, some of this is selling out. If you want to get it, you kind of have to get it on the Kickstarter, because some of these books are legitimately selling out. There won't be extras. Well, I'll just get whatever's left and I'll get. So you have to understand that the comic book market is not the comic book market. It is not this. It is this and this and this and this and this. And they all Venn diagram together and have a little bit of overlap. But it is multiple pockets of collectors doing different things in different ways, in the ways that they like it.
Right.
And if you're not attempting to get your toes in all of those bubbles, you're cutting yourself short. It's as simple as
Right.
that.
And I shared I shared this on a watch party on my Facebook, and Katrina was saying that like she hasn't used Kickstarter, and people had chastised her for not doing it. She thought she was doing a good thing by not doing it. I think this is what that's what she was referring to in the comments. But
it's not a bad thing to not do it. Like, don't take me wrong. It's not, if you're going to sit here and say, look, I'm just going to make my book however I'm going to make my book, go do it. Like, no one's going to tell you you're doing it wrong. But there are methods and reasons to do a convention, to do a Kickstarter, to do an Indiegogo, to do live shows like this. There are reasons for all of that to exist. There's a reason to do a basic cover, a variant cover, a foil cover, blah, 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 blah. There's reasons for it all. And
yeah.
So what I try and do is I try and get everybody to understand all of the little segments and pockets of comic books, because it's not just, here's my $4 comic at the comic book store, I'm going home and reading it, and then I'm done. Like, that's this much of the industry as a whole. And so I want creators to understand why Kickstarter matters, why everything matters. And there's no reason to cut down anybody doing it any way that they want to do it. But please, 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 please try and understand all of the segments, because you want to be touching as many of those segments as you can.
Sorry, I had to mute because my dog is barking like she won't stop. She's lost her mind. Alia! Okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to mute. So why don't you talk about something else for a minute? Because I gotta go I gotta shut these girls down. Otherwise, we're never gonna be able to finish this.
So I'm gonna jump on my phone real quick here, guys, and I'm gonna find Stephanie's thing. So I didn't realize she had shared it out. So I'm going to see Stephanie Menard. That way I can see your comments as well. There we go. So we got a few comments here. Whoops, let me turn my volume off. Okay, so it is Katrina Rowitz. Hello. Creators shouldn't need Kickstarter, but it's not about needing Kickstarter. It's not about needing Indiegogo. Some creators do need it because they simply don't have the cash flow to produce a comic book that is of any sort of quality level, let's say, because that stuff does matter too. You want to be able to find art and artists that are going to level up whatever your project is. So while Kickstarter was originally designed for people who, like I said, don't have the cash flow and wanted to make these projects, it's now moved into a completely different type of format, which is, hey, we're marketing your book to an audience. We're helping you take orders for your audience. The backer kit is helping you streamline your shipping process. Kickstarter allows you to become a comic book publisher, let's say, in a much easier way than it does with Diamond Comics. Because if you go into Diamond Comics as a publisher, small publisher, number one, you might not even get accepted, like, period. They might just be like, dude, you're not going to sell enough books. Get out of here. We're not interested. So if your thought process is, I'm going to make a comic book, I'm going to go to Diamond, I'm going to sell 10,000 units, I have some really, really bad news for you. Really bad news for you. Because number one, you might not get accepted. Number two, just getting into Previews magazine does not mean anyone will ever see you. Number three, your orders will probably be less than 2,000 units, because there are companies now that have been doing this actively for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years or more that are not selling more than even 3,000 or 4,000 units. The old guard, the old way of doing things is gone. It's over. You cannot say that your goal is to get into Diamond Comics. It can be part of your goal, but it cannot be your end game, because if that's your end game, you're over. That's it. You're not going to sell enough units to make your printing costs back, to pay your artists, to do all the things that you need to do. And so Kickstarter helps because you are now, if you're smart, you're now planning ahead, because now you're not just saying, hey, I'm going to make 100 or 200 copies of this book. You're going to say, look, I am going to become a comic book publisher. I'm going to make this book. We're going to print, I don't know, whatever, 1,000 units, and for issue number 1, and we're going to put this out into the marketplace. And here it is, and people will start to buy it automatically. No retailers deciding whether they want to buy it. No crowded shelves on comic book stores. It's just simply you're showing it to them, and they're deciding I'm going to spend my $5 or $10 on it. And then this is where the forethought comes in, guys. Issue number 2. Okay, don't just do number 1 and be like, well, okay, I'm out. I did it. No, it's number 2. And guess what? Because you overprinted all of those number 1s, you had 1,000 print run. Now you can sell your number 1s with your number 2s, which then raises your revenue on your second issue. And then guess what? Number 3. I mean, it just keeps going. As long as you want it to keep going, it will just keep going. And as long as you're producing a product that is a quality level that people can say, yes, it's worth whatever it is, the price that I'm paying.
Right.
They will continue to come back.
All right. And just to touch on, why I use Kickstarter, because I started off funding everything out of my own pocket. So I was paying my artists, basically.
We did the same thing.
Yeah. I started out because that's how I thought that's how you did it. I was new and I'm like, okay, well, I felt uncomfortable trying to crowdfund when nobody knew who the hell I was. I had nothing, I didn't want to just like throw something up on Kickstarter and be like, haha, you want to buy my stuff. I'm awesome. So I was like, okay, you invest the money into putting together, your product or whatever. And then you do conventions and you do whatever, you get yourself out there, you market yourself, and you just keep doing that until you build an audience, was pretty much what my original goal was.
Yep.
So once I felt comfortable that I had enough, like a body of work, that I had done enough marketing, that I had a big enough mailing list, that I felt comfortable going to Kickstarter and going, it's not going to be, like a total failure. Hopefully. I mean, you never really know.
No.
But what that did, because I was in a hole for so long with all of the comics that I did, so as a writer, I'm paying for everything out of my own pocket. I'm not getting paid.
Right.
So I'm literally throwing thousands of dollars into every single issue. And
we only get paid if we sell the book.
Right. And if you know how hard it is to make all your money back on a $5 comic, it's really, really hard. And that's even just breaking even. Yeah. And then you're paying for convention tables and all that other stuff. So it all adds up. As a writer, we invest a lot, especially at the beginning. So I felt really comfortable moving to Kickstarter because I funded the first issue of Aeonian. I paid for it out of my own pocket, had it done, put it up on Kickstarter, and all the money that was raised from that went to pay my artists and everybody for issue 2. So issue 1, I just ate that. I ate it so that I could keep making the issues. Sure. Now, we're doing pre-sales for every issue, and some people are like, well, you shouldn't do that with floppies. But for me, because I don't get to do as many conventions, and I'm not out there as much as a lot of other people, this is how I mostly reach my audience, is doing pre-sales on Kickstarter. So, and I'm not asking for a ridiculous amount of money. It's literally just pre-sale to get it so I can print it and put it out. That's really it. So I think for some people, like for me, that it works well that way. And I know people that, make 20, 30, 40 grand on their Kickstarters, and that's awesome too. I think, where I'm at in my career, I'm good with what I'm doing, but I also know that from there, you have to grow. Yeah. And I just think that maybe people that see Kickstarter as, asking for, you're not asking for a handout. You're giving somebody, you're putting out this product or getting something for what you're,
this isn't GoFundMe. This isn't going, I need $1,000. Here I am. Right. This is literally, you're buying a product.
Right. Exactly. Like I said,
and if it doesn't fund, then you don't lose your money.
Exactly. So I think if people think of it like that, think of it as just a marketing or pre-sale tool. I think that it changes how people view Kickstarter. And
Right.
I mean, it definitely did for me. And I think, and like you said, Kickstarter is a lot different than it used to be. So I think it's a really great tool, especially now. I mean, nobody can do conventions. Like what?
Sure.
Like what? It's
well, and when all of this happened, the Kickstarter in comics anyway, the Kickstarter campaigns went from over 200 down to about 125 at the low point, and it has surged right back up over the last few months. So people have figured out that it just is what it is. And as far as the floppy thing, listen, I had somebody tell me to my face, you can't do what you're planning to do, which was to run each issue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He said the attrition will destroy you because no one will come back for issue 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And I was like, nothing that you're telling me makes any sense to me. None of it. You're not rationalizing this in any way, shape, or form, because this is not the comic book retail market. This is a completely different world. Every single one of our issues for Penny for Your Soul from 1 to 7 went higher and higher and higher until Penny 7 was our highest campaign ever at its time. And then we grew even out of that. So, but again, only because when we did issue 2, we had issue 1s that we could still sell. Because if you don't have that first issue, then people are like, well, what am I supposed to do?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you absolutely have to do that because I mean, I didn't even know that was a thing that people did. Like not have an issue 1 if you put an issue 2 up on Kickstarter, because I mean, people miss stuff on Kickstarter all the time. I still have people like with this campaign, I had, I think like 25 or 26 people had to buy like all 3 issues. So there was people that were just coming into it and needed all of them. So it worked out good. And I had to reorder issues 1 and 2, but I'm fine with that because I do print on demand.
Sure.
So it works out fine for me.
Yeah. When we got to issue 7 of Penny for Your Soul, we offered all 7 of them in one reward. This is like, boom, there's the whole thing, guys. If you missed it, kaboom. And we had like 30 people just by that alone. So, there's your new audience.
Right. You're always going to find new people. But yeah, you definitely have to have issue 1s available if you're putting in issue 2 or whatever issue number you are putting up, have the ones before it.
Yes. That's how you grow it.
That's
important. Literally how you grow it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we're getting close to the end here. Is there anything else you want to touch on? I think we actually had a pretty good discussion about Kickstarter. Like, I didn't think we were going to, even though all I've been doing for like the last 3 months is Kickstarter, I feel like, and my brain is literally Kickstartered out, but
it's hell for me on the rest of the way, because we have Critter is ending on the 5th, next Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And then all of August is going to be promoting ClickCon, which is a Kickstarter event that I'm doing with Wendy Shaner and CB Zane. We are all doing a co-Kickstarter, which will be launching in September. And then I have my own normally scheduled campaign in October for Ursa Minor that'll be happening like right after the ClickCon thing is over. And then in between that, there's all kinds of little pockets of things that we're doing. So like next Wednesday, it's the end of Critter, but it's also National Underwear Day. And so we have, like we did with Bikini Day a couple of weeks ago. So we have Underwear Day covers coming and so on and so on. So it's gonna be a wild last half of the year at the Big Dog House.
Well, yeah, no, it sounds like it. I'm tired just thinking. I was already tired. Now I feel like I need to hibernate. Good Lord. So I always feel like, oh yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm getting things done. And then I hear all the crap you're doing and I'm just like, I'm not doing shit. Like, what am I even doing with my life? Oh, well, that's all right. We can't all be, Tom.
Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
No, I'm good. I'm good with not being Tom. I'll just watch you like a creeper from afar and, cheer you on through your successes. And
just, check in every couple of weeks and be like, go Tom.
There we go. I'm trying to think, is there anything? I don't think I've got anything else for today. Nothing that I can. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us today and talking Kickstarters and indie comics and all that fun jazz. We do this every 2 weeks, another page turner, and it's on any network that you can find podcasts on. So you can either watch us live. We're usually live every other Tuesday at 1:00, but it's been
it
been a
bounces
month.
a little. So
Yeah.
probably based on what I'm seeing on the calendar, probably the 11th will be our next shot.
Because we won't do one next week, but yeah, the 11th will probably be the next show. So if you guys want to, I'll share this. It seems like we had some people that were,
Yeah, we had some watchers and
so if you guys want to,
some questions, which are always good.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it. And, it's always good to see Kat on. Good to see you, Ron. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. And again, we'll be back on the 11th at 1:00. And check out all of our back episodes on PodcastDetroit.com or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And until next time, be good and be safe.